The fluorescent lights of the office flickered overhead as I answered the persistent ring of my phone. An unfamiliar number displayed on the screen, and a sense of foreboding crept over me. Little did I know that this call would shatter the fragile facade of trust in my marriage. "Amber, it's David," a voice crackled through the phone, urgency woven into every syllable. David, Bella's husband, and unbeknownst to me, a silent ally. "You need to check your bank account. Something's not right." Confusion lined my face as I navigated to my banking app. The screen revealed a string of transactions, withdrawals, purchases, and a plane ticket reservation. My heart sank as I connected the dots. Chuck, my husband, had swiped my ATM card without a word, embarking on a clandestine trip with his sister Bella and her husband. In a whirlwind of emotions, I dialed Chuck's number, my fingers trembling with each press of the button. He answered with a casual, "Hey, babe, what's up?" "What's up?" I seethed, my voice trembling with anger. "Where are you, Chuck? And why the hell are you using my ATM card without telling me?" Silence lingered on the other end before he stammered out a feeble excuse. "It's just a small trip, Amber. I didn't think it would be a big deal." "Small trip? Using my money without asking is a big deal," I retorted, my frustration reaching a boiling point. "This is a betrayal, Chuck. How could you do this to me?" The dialogue that followed was tense, each word a battleground in the unraveling of our trust. Chuck's justifications crumbled beneath the weight of my disbelief and anger. "I thought you wouldn't mind," he insisted, attempting to downplay the severity of his actions. "Mind? You thought wrong, Chuck. This is a breach of trust, and I won't stand for it," I declared, my resolve cutting through the excuses. The conversation left me shaken, a bitter taste of betrayal lingering in the air. Little did I know, this incident would unravel a web of deceit that went beyond a simple stolen ATM card. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the room as I confronted Chuck about his deceit. Tension hung thick in the air, the palpable strain of our unraveling marriage. "Why, Chuck? Why would you betray me like this?" I demanded, my voice laced with a mix of anger and hurt. He shifted uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact. "Amber, it's not what you think. I just wanted to surprise you, and I didn't want to spoil it." "Surprise me?" I scoffed, incredulous. "Taking my ATM card without permission is not a surprise, Chuck. It's a breach of trust." His eyes darted around the room, unable to meet my gaze. "I messed up, okay. I should have told you, but I didn't think you'd understand. It's just a small trip with Bella and David." "Small trip or not, Chuck, that's not the point," I shot back, my frustration boiling over. "We're supposed to be a team, partners. You can't just make decisions like this without consulting me." He sighed, a mixture of guilt and frustration etched on his face. "Amber, I know I messed up, but can't we talk about this later? I don't want to ruin the surprise." I shook my head, the disbelief lingering. "The only surprise here is how little you value our relationship. You've jeopardized our trust, Chuck. I don't even know if I can believe anything you say anymore." As the confrontation continued, the cracks in our marriage widened. Chuck's attempts at justification fell flat, and the gravity of his actions began to sink in. The room echoed with the harsh truths that had long been swept under the rug. "You need to understand, Amber. This wasn't about hurting you. I just wanted to do something special," he pleaded, desperation in his eyes. "Special," I retorted, my voice cutting through the room. "There's nothing special about deceit, Chuck. If we can't be honest with each other, what's the point of being together?" The confrontation left an indelible mark on our relationship, a turning point that forced us to confront the deeper issues that had festered beneath the surface. Little did I know, this confrontation was just the beginning of a journey that would reshape the course of my life. As I reflected on the confrontation with Chuck, I couldn't help but delve into the intricacies of our relationship, a relationship that had always been a delicate balance of compromise and sacrifice. Our story began in the mundane corridors of the workplace. Chuck and I, an unlikely couple with an age difference that raised eyebrows, found ourselves entangled in the complexities of love and ambition. Fate played its hand, placing me in the position of his supervisor despite my relative youth. Our professional roles became a backdrop to the budding romance that eventually blossomed. "Amber," he would say with a playful smile, "you're not just my boss. You're the boss of my heart." His charming words masked the underlying differences in our aspirations. Chuck, a traditionalist at heart, dreamed of a family-centric life. He envisioned a cozy home filled with the laughter of children, a scene straight out of a storybook. On the other hand, my passion for my career burned brightly, and I couldn't fathom relinquishing it for the sake of a domestic ideal. "I want us to have a family, Amber. It's the natural next step," he proposed one evening, his eyes earnest. I sighed, torn between love and ambition. "Chuck, I love you, but I'm not ready to give up on my career. Can't we find a middle ground?" And so the negotiations began. We compromised, deciding to prioritize the wedding and establishing a home before delving into the complexities of parenthood. Little did we know, this compromise was a fragile truce that masked the differing foundations of our dreams. As our relationship progressed, so did the complexities. Chuck's sister, Bella, entered the scene with an attitude that clashed violently with my own. The first meeting was a harbinger of the challenges ahead. "Bella, this is Amber, my girlfriend," Chuck introduced with a hopeful smile. Bella's eyes narrowed as she looked me up and down, her tone laden with skepticism. "Girlfriend, huh? Hope you're not planning to stick around for too long." The tension hung in the air, a foreshadowing of the storms to come. As our lives intertwined further, the roots of discord deepened, setting the stage for a tumultuous journey that would test the resilience of our relationship. The echoes of Bella's disdain lingered long after our initial meeting. Her confrontational attitude became a persistent storm cloud in the skies of our relationship, casting shadows on what should have been a joyous time. "Bella, this is Amber, my fiancée," Chuck announced proudly during our engagement party. Bella's response was a thinly veiled sneer. "Fiancé, huh? Well, good luck with that." Her disapproval turned into something more insidious as she began to weave her way into the fabric of our lives. The first sign of trouble came when she approached me with a seemingly innocent request. "Amber, I hate to ask, but we're in a bit of a bind. Could you lend us some money? Just a temporary thing, you know." Bella's voice dripped with false sincerity. Caught off guard, I hesitated. "Temporary? How much are we talking about?" Bella's eyes narrowed as she seized the opportunity. "Oh, just a couple of $1,000. It's for something urgent, and we'll pay you back as soon as possible." Little did I know, this would be the first of many requests, each one more audacious than the last. Bella's manipulative prowess reached new heights as she used my lack of a high school diploma as leverage, exploiting my insecurities. "Amber, you're successful and educated. I hate to admit it, but David and I are struggling," she confessed, her eyes welling with fake tears. "I didn't finish high school, and it's been so hard for us. I just want the best for our family." Her words cut through my defenses, and I found myself reluctantly lending her money, believing that I was helping a struggling family find their footing. Months passed, and the borrowed amounts escalated, reaching an astonishing $17,000. I was blinded by a false sense of obligation and the hope that, one day, Bella would fulfill her promises of repayment. It wasn't until a conversation with David, Bella's husband, that the truth began to unravel. He approached me cautiously, a weariness in his eyes that mirrored my own. "Amber, we need to talk. Bella's been spending the money on unnecessary things, luxury items, vacations. I didn't know how to stop her," he confessed, his voice filled with regret. The revelation hit me like a punch to the gut. I had been deceived, taken advantage of by someone I had considered family. The anger simmered within me, and with David's reluctant collaboration, a plan for revenge took shape. Little did they know, the tables were about to turn, and the dynamics of our tangled family would undergo a seismic shift. As the truth about Bella's financial manipulation unfolded, my anger and determination intensified. Armed with the unsettling knowledge that the money I had lent her was spent on indulgences rather than necessities, I knew I had to take control. "David, we can't let her get away with this. We need to expose the truth and make them accountable for their actions," I declared, my voice steely with resolve. David hesitated, torn between loyalty to his wife and the realization that their actions were indefensible. "I never wanted it to come to this, Amber. But you're right. It's gone too far, and I can't keep enabling her deceit." Together, we crafted a plan for revenge, a calculated move to reclaim what was rightfully mine and expose Chuck and Bella's financial wrongdoing. Legal actions were set in motion, demanding repayment of the borrowed funds, and the revelation of their deception would not be confined to the courtroom alone. The first step was to gather evidence, a meticulous process of documenting every transaction, every luxury item purchased with my hard-earned money. David, burdened by guilt, cooperated fully, providing insights into Bella's extravagant spending habits. One evening, as we sifted through bank statements and receipts, David sighed, remorse in his eyes. "I never thought it would come to this, Amber. I love my sister, but she needs to face the consequences of her actions." I nodded solemnly, understanding the weight of his internal struggle. "David, we're doing this not just for ourselves, but to put an end to this cycle of deceit. It's time for them to understand the consequences of their choices." The legal battle was arduous, a war fought not only in the courtroom, but also in the court of public opinion. The evidence we presented painted a damning picture of Chuck and Bella's financial manipulation, leaving no room for denial. The news of their deceit reverberated through our intertwined social circles, casting a spotlight on the skeletons they had hidden in their closet. As the legal proceedings progressed, Chuck and Bella's world crumbled. The facade of familial unity shattered, exposing the fractures beneath. Their attempts to salvage their reputation were feeble in the face of irrefutable evidence. In a courtroom confrontation, Chuck stammered, "I never meant for things to get this far. It was supposed to be a small favor, and then it spiraled out of control." My response was cold and calculated. "A small favor that cost me $17,000 and shattered the trust in our marriage. Your actions have consequences, Chuck." The judgment ruled in my favor, ordering Chuck and Bella to repay the borrowed funds. The victory, however, went beyond monetary compensation. It was a vindication of justice, a revelation of their true characters, and a decisive step towards my liberation. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a journey that would lead me away from the toxic ties that bound me and towards a future of independence, resilience, and unexpected alliances. The courtroom became a battleground, a theater where the drama of betrayal and financial deceit unfolded. As the legal proceedings began, the air in the room grew heavy with tension, and the eyes of the judge seemed to weigh the gravity of our accusations. Chuck and Bella sat on the opposite side, their faces a mask of forced composure. The clinking of handcuffs, as they handed over their possessions to the court officer, marked the beginning of a legal duel that would expose their transgressions. The courtroom dialogue was a symphony of legal jargon, each word carefully chosen to present the evidence of their financial manipulation. My lawyer, a steadfast ally in this battle for justice, presented a damning case, unraveling the intricate web of deceit spun by Chuck and Bella. My gaze met Chuck's across the room, and in that moment, the reality of the situation hit him like a tidal wave. "I trusted you, Chuck. We were supposed to be partners in life, not adversaries in court," I whispered, my voice filled with a mixture of disappointment and resentment. His response was a sheepish glance away, an acknowledgement of the irreparable damage he had caused. As the evidence piled up, even Bella's defiance began to crumble. Her lawyer attempted feeble defenses, but the financial records spoke louder than any words. The judge's stern gaze bore down on her, demanding accountability. Bella, cornered and exposed, turned to me with a bitter expression. "You think you're so much better than us, Amber. This was just a game for you, right?" My response was measured and firm. "This was never a game, Bella. You exploited our relationship and manipulated me for your own gain. It's time for you to face the consequences." The judge's verdict was swift and unequivocal. Chuck and Bella were ordered to repay the borrowed funds, and their assets were seized to ensure compliance. The legal battle was won, but the emotional toll lingered. In the aftermath, Chuck attempted a feeble apology. "I never thought it would come to this, Amber. I'm sorry for what I've done." My response was a cold stare. "Sorry doesn't undo the damage, Chuck. You've shattered the trust, and we can't go back to how things were." With the legal battles behind me, I emerged victorious but scared. The court's judgment marked not just the end of a legal saga, but the beginning of a new chapter, one where I would rebuild my life, free from the shadows of deceit and manipulation. Little did I know, the resolution of this conflict was a catalyst for profound personal growth, setting the stage for the next steps on my journey toward independence and self-discovery. With the legal battles settled, a sense of resolution hung in the air. The victory in court marked the end of a tumultuous chapter, but the echoes of the past lingered, demanding closure. The courtroom drama had exposed Chuck and Bella's financial deceit, and the judgment ordered them to repay the borrowed funds. As the legal machinery churned, the reality of the situation sank in for them. In the wake of the judgment, I found a sense of closure that went beyond the monetary compensation. Chuck and Bella were forced to confront the consequences of their actions, and the truth had set me free from the shackles of their manipulation. Chuck, his demeanor humbled by the court proceedings, approached me tentatively. "Amber, I never thought it would come to this. I messed up, and I'm paying the price. I hope you can find it in yourself to forgive me." My response was measured. "Chuck, forgiveness is a process, and it's something I need to work through. But the court ruling doesn't change the fact that our trust is broken. We both need to move forward separately." The separation that followed was not just physical but emotional. I moved out, determined to carve a new path for myself. The condo I bought became a symbol of my independence, a space where I could rebuild and redefine my life. In the aftermath, I found unexpected support from an unlikely ally, David, Bella's husband. He approached me with a sincerity that had been absent in his sister's actions. "Amber, I'm sorry for everything Bella put you through. I never wanted any of this to happen." His genuine remorse softened the edges of my resentment. "David, I appreciate your honesty. Let's focus on moving forward positively for both of our sakes." As I settled into my new life, the professional arena became a source of solace and triumph. My career flourished, culminating in a promotion to regional director. The successes at work became a testament to my resilience and the strength I had gained through adversity. One day, David reached out with a genuine smile. "Amber, I know it might be strange, but I'd like us to build a positive connection. We both deserve a fresh start. The unexpected friendship that blossomed between us was a silver lining, a reminder that amidst the wreckage of broken relationships, new bonds could emerge. As I stood in the doorway of my condo, surveying the life I had rebuilt, I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. The resolution of the legal battles and the subsequent moving on were not just about leaving the past behind, but embracing a future filled with promise. Little did I know, this chapter was not just an ending, but a prelude to a new beginning, one where I would continue to thrive, finding strength in the lessons learned and the triumphs over adversity. As I closed the door to my condo, a feeling of liberation washed over me. The echoes of legal battles and broken trust had faded into the background, making room for the promise of new beginnings. This chapter of my life was a canvas waiting to be painted with the vibrant colors of resilience and self-discovery. The condo, with its clean lines and uncluttered spaces, symbolized the fresh start I craved. Walls adorned with artwork I chose for myself, furniture that reflected my taste. Each element told a story of independence and empowerment. One day, as I unpacked the last box, David appeared at my doorstep, a tentative smile on his face. "Amber, I brought you something for your new place." A small housewarming gift. His sincerity touched me, and I welcomed him inside. "David, this is unexpected." "Thank you." Our friendship blossomed into something genuine, a bond that defied the tumultuous history between our respective siblings. "Amber, I know our pasts are entwined in ways we never expected, but I believe we can create something positive from it." I nodded, appreciating the sentiment. "David, I'm grateful for your support. Let's focus on the present and the future, free from the shadows of the past." The professional sphere became a canvas for my ambitions. The promotion to regional director was a testament to the dedication and hard work that had fueled my journey. The challenges I faced only strengthened my resolve, turning obstacles into stepping stones toward success. One evening, as I celebrated my achievement with colleagues, Chuck attempted to approach me with a hesitant smile. "Amber, I heard about your promotion. Congratulations." I acknowledged his words with a polite nod. "Thank you, Chuck. I hope you find your own path to healing and growth." The party continued, a vibrant reflection of my newfound joy and independence. Colleagues raised their glasses in a toast, celebrating not just my professional success, but the resilience that defined my personal journey. In the quiet moments, alone in my condo, I reflected on the twists and turns that had led me to this point. The pain of betrayal had given way to the triumph of self-discovery, and the lessons learned had become stepping stones to a brighter future. As I stared out of the condo window, I felt a sense of gratitude for the strength I had found within myself. The tangled web of deceit had unraveled, paving the way for authenticity and growth. Little did I know, this chapter of new beginnings was just the prologue to a story that would continue to unfold. Life, with its uncertainties and surprises, beckoned, and I faced the future with a renewed sense of purpose and resilience.